Folks, welcome back. This is the SubaNews for the 30th week of 2026. We're recording this just after coming back from Rally Colorado. We got to talk about Rally Colorado, Super Taikyu that's coming up this weekend. And you might even get tired of me saying this, but this is an interesting one. Another Subaru patent. But this one is really, really interesting. So stick around for that. Before we dive into it, just want to say, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the hype button if you see it. That really helps us out a ton. Rally Colorado, it was just this past weekend, a few days ago as we're recording this. It was really hot. There was rain that came in. It was a really challenging race for many, many teams. All 5 of the top cars were the Rally 2 cars, the top class of cars. Seth Quintero in the GR Corolla won the event. Travis Pastrana in the Subaru Limited 4-wheel drive car had some electrical issues and he had to retire from day 1, came back in day 2. They had a decent event, but they're still chasing a lot of growing pains with that car. And there's a lot of local teams that had some really, really good showings and some trouble too. We're going to get into more of that actually in probably a more detailed video, maybe even a couple detailed videos, because we were all there. We were at the event, we were shooting a ton of footage, and we're going to talk to some of these teams. We're going to bring as many of these stories that we can from Rally Colorado back to you. So stay tuned for that. Let's talk about Super Taikyu race coming up. It's at Autopolis. This is the next race that Subaru is going to be competing in after the 24 hours of Fuji. We're really looking forward to seeing the Super Taikyu car on the road again. Stay tuned to the YouTube channel. I think it's Taikyu TV, so you can kind of follow along with the race as it goes. Let's see how the Super Taikyu car does, and there's another Super GT race just coming around the bend, so keep your eyes out for that. A couple of other exciting things happening this very weekend. First and foremost, Subie Fest California is happening this weekend. If you've been following Smedia, he's been driving his freshly restored 2005 STI down there with Matt and his WRX. Those are both going to be in the Cobb booth. Be sure to check that out. And Art and the Overtake guys are going to be there at Subie Fest California as well. We wish we could be there. I'm sure it's going to be fun. I think Rihanna and Gelsomino and the Subaru Rally team are going to be there. They probably went right from Rally Colorado to Subie Fest California. So it's going to be really cool. If you're there and check it out, take some pictures, post them in the comments below. Tell us what you think the coolest part of Subie Fest California is. And then also, this is Gridlife Watkins Glen. All the way up there, I think it's in New York State or something like that. It's way up there, up east, but it's a classic track. A lot of heritage, a lot of history at this track. And Dewey is headed that way with Boogie. His race car, they're going to be competing at Watkins. Devin Alexandria is going to be there with her STI as well. Lots of cool stuff happening in Gridlife this weekend. Subiefest California, we got Super Taikyu. This is an amazing weekend to be a fan of Subarus. All sorts of cool stuff going on. Folks, this video is brought to you by the Tranquil sleeve repair kits for the Subaru manual transmissions. These are available on Flatirons for basically all the Subaru manual transmissions from about 1993 to present day. What this is a stainless steel sleeve that slides over the aluminum snout of your manual transmission. And if you have a throwout bearing failure, sometimes that aluminum snout can get damaged so that the throwout bearing won't be held in place properly. If you weren't aware of this option, what they might tell you is you have to basically put in a whole new transmission case because that snout is damaged to hold the throwout bearing in place. But this stainless steel sleeve fixes that problem. It just slides onto the snout. It's held in place by 4 different lock screws, and then you get a special throwout bearing that slides over this steel sleeve. So it's basically not going to fail again. This is a great option, especially for all of those push-style clutches. This is a very common issue, the TSK3, for all of the push-style WRXs, 2006 to 2021. Haven't really had much of an issue with the newer cars yet, but this is a very common problem. This is the perfect solution for you. It's just a couple $100. Get your car, back on the road with a new sleeve, new throwout bearing, new clutch. It's a great solution. It's available at FlatironsTuning.com. So with all that being said, appreciate your support as always. Let's get back to the video. Before we get to this this new patent Subaru's filed, let's head back. Let's get a warehouse update. Let's see what's going on back there. So warehouse, it's busy, it's chaotic. You will notice that there are no cars in the warehouse. Follow me and I'll show you why. What's going on here? This is how we pack up shirt blocks. We actually use wood as a packing material to shore up things because drivers tend to get a little bit aggressive with boxes, and this is the best way we found to protect shirt blocks as they're going out. So, yeah, that's a shirt block that's about to be properly protected and shipped, believe it or not. Okay, Morgan, hey. So now I'm next door to the shop, but the door is unlocked. Let's walk in here and let's see what's going on. Okay, a lot is happening. This is not our warehouse, but it is a warehouse. They basically, it became available, and so we were able to use the space for a little bit for this. This is our VB, and if you look closely, you can see it. So the wrap is missing. But Carter, come a little closer here. Some critical details. There's a welder there. Welding is happening. There's a cage in it. The cage is painted. Hey, that's a pin stand. The VB is on pin stands, as a normal rally car should be. There's a lot of action happening. I don't know, Viet, can you give me a quick little idea of what you're working on?
Things? Stuff. Just tucking all the wiring out of the way so they don't get stepped on.
Yeah. Dashes in?
In enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like 3D scan this little portion so I can make little mounts later.
Nice.
And then, yeah, we're going to start doing like padding and all that stuff.
All right, so Nigel is putting a giant sticker on the car. Just the one. Just one sticker?
Just one sticker.
One sticker.
I wish it was just one.
So this is a fresh wrap.
Yeah.
We're not going to show you anything other than it's happening, but why is it getting wrapped? Well, because it's getting fully turned into a race car for the Mount Washington Hill Climb. The hope is that we get everything else wrapped up as much as possible because we're going on to the dyno on Monday, which is just a handful of days away. And then once it's back from the dyno, we just have a few days left before we'll have to leave for Mount Washington. And that is the plan is to take the VB out there. So a lot is moving, a lot has to happen between now and then, but that is the plan. And then we've got the Pikes car over here. As you probably saw in one of the recent podcasts mentioned, we did have an issue with the car. We did have basically a light overheating issue down to a radiator hose. Too much has been going on to really deep dive back into this and give you guys all the details as far as what happened, but long story short, it was an issue with the upper radiator hose is what it ended up being. So Carter, got to come in here and look down right behind the power steering pump. You should see a little puddle of liquid or water, and that is coolant. So we pressure tested the cooling system before we went up on the race run. We know we lost a little bit of coolant on the race run. So now here we are back home and pressurized the cooling system. And what we discovered, oh, there we go. All right. The hose or the clamp, or the hose and the clamp are compromised, and it's spraying coolant over the engine. And the current school of thought is, well, this is where what must have happened to the cooling system and the missing coolant, it must have sprayed onto the hot engine. Now, why exactly this hose had failed at that point, don't know that exactly yet. But this is definitely an issue, and we had not touched this since the race run. So this is definitely some part of what our troubles were on the race run itself. So we have to investigate further. We did a lot of troubleshooting, but that's what happened. But this car basically has to take a little bit of a back seat because we are on a super tight timeline to get that car sorted out and up and running. So that is what's happening in the warehouse. This warehouse that we are borrowing, we will not be borrowing it for long because we're going to be taking it over. So once we can even get through these next couple of weeks in this race, we're actually going to be moving Flatirons tuning into this warehouse, believe it or not. So we're very excited about that. It's actually bigger than what we're in currently. We're going to keep that warehouse too. We're just adding this one. But man, there's going to be so much that has to happen and so much to do. Never going to be a dull moment. That is the latest for right now. So stay tuned on the VB and stay tuned for an update on the Pikes car. And let's get back to the SubaNews. The warehouse update. More details will come out of all of these cars and everything that's going on. The Subaru patent. Subaru has patented a fender. Well, really like a fender insert, kind of like a new one of these little plastic pieces on the fender of the VB. But here's the really interesting part. It's actually not a Subaru patent. It's a Subaru Tecnica International patent. In the US here, it's really, really interesting that STI is patenting these fenders here in the States. This could very well be that there's going to be one of the changes in the WRX that gets the TY 85 transmission. I think that's a possibility. Could very well be that this is maybe one of the pieces of the puzzle that really tells us or shows us that an STI is coming. Does this mean that the STI that we're going to get is going to be built by Subaru Tecnica International? It's going to be like an S car, like the S209. maybe very limited production. If it drives the cost up and it drives the production numbers down, I think that could be a negative, but if we at least get one of these cars, it's better to have one than to not have it. But I think this is really, really interesting. What does this mean? What does this patent mean for whatever we're going to get, either as the WRX with the STI transmission or as what may well be coming out or be announced soon as the next STI. It really is striking that the patent is filed by Subaru Tecnica International. Everything that Subaru is doing now, it seems like they're giving us more questions than answers. So that is what is going on right now in the shop and in the world of SubaNews for the 30th week of 2026. Thanks very much for your support. And as always, stay tuned with Flatirons Tunes.